Let me start off with something. You know, we've been doing this is it the fifth day? Fifth day. And in 7 days I finished my work, finished creating the universe. All the excitement happened in the first 3 days. And a lot of you, I think 20, 30 of you came for the whole 7 days. And a lot of you came just through 3 or 4 days. But 1 day should be enough. You know, so, because I have so many people to work with. But so, please, don't be silent. I will open the discussion, and it's important for you to say, just a minute, what do you mean by that? You know, something like that. And then somebody will start to cry or talk about, yeah, I got that. And pretty soon they're saying things I can't say better, because they are talking, they're looking at their own tea leaves in their head. And they have unique ways of saying it. I've got a granddaughter that had a problem with her dad, and she was just really stuck. He got impatient and she's suppressed, and she wasn't growing quite right. So I had to take care of the dad, and I mean, he got angry, and he's big and strong, and he stood up to me, but you know, nobody stands up to me. They stand down pretty quick. As I said, it's a gift. It's almost like you can't hurt me. See, so, but anyway, but then I got her to speak up to her. I finally got to get her to speak up to her dad, and she did. She stood up, her knees were knocking, but I was there, and then she began to speak to him. And out of a 13-year-old girl, you won't believe what came out. She was reading the tea leaves of her mind like she's a highly trained psychologist, but then some. Yeah, but it really made sense. And she was actually saying all the machinery and the machinations of her mind, how it all works, how the father affected her, and how she reacted, and how the reaction had these consequences. And she made all the connections. If I put a tape recorder on it, would have been a perfect book. No, better than any psychiatric book you could read. And then she was better. And ever since then, she's wisely young lady. There's not a thing she can't do. It's all gone, all the problems went away. See, so that's not mean to say that it's the end of everything, because there'll be little relapses, and you know, things will catch you unawares. And when that happens, if you get better and walk out of here and you feel so much better, don't be afraid of the fact that something catch you unawares and you get irritated. All you have to do is say, oops, that was a surprise, I didn't see that. You just see that as a learning experience, because things lurk inside you, you don't even know is there. But as you become more patient with people and more patient with yourself, opposite to being impatient with yourself and impatient with people and judging them and then judging yourself, it starts to free you to deal with people in a beautiful new way. But every now and then, something deep down inside you that has been affecting your behavior slowly comes to the surface, because no more new stuff is being added. See? The bilge is getting lower and lower, less and less water, because you've closed up the hole. But every now and then, something will happen to you that it will react, and you've never seen that. It's always been working, but you hadn't seen it. Your mind is a very, very powerful machine. And if you're not in control of your emotions, meaning not having them. If you have to control your emotions and you can't express it. Down it goes. And then it ruminates, it goes round and round and round, and every little anger and hostility compounds it and compresses it and makes it more and more powerful. It's a boiling cauldron of hatred. And you may not see that too. You might you might think of yourself as a very nice, cordial person. It's all buried down there. But as long as it's buried, it's creating diseases and problems. And you're a nice person, and you go to the doctor, the doctor thinks you're a nice person. And everybody treats you nice and you're a nice person. You are a nice person. You are playing the role of a nice person. And you get all these compliments, and things seem to be going well. You got a nice business. You got a nice husband. And all of a sudden, all hell starts to break loose. See? And then you get this very nice person has cancer, and he's dying. And he's Tony Snow. I predicted he was going to die. They said he was sick, cancer. I know it's sick, cancer. This was the perfect person who was the kindest, most articulate, thoughtful. He on the surface was everything he knew to be about. But he couldn't bring it about naturally. So he did the best he could with his be with his fallen nature. He's as far as he could go along with his fallen nature. He did the best he could to do what... See, good people know what right and wrong is. And they can actually act out the right and avoid the wrong and live the perfect life. And yet die. The good die young. Wicked people live a long time. Because they don't get ulcers, they give them. I learned that. I learned little things quickly. So I can remember where I learned it. I have a boat on the water. I live up here now because I know all hell's going to break loose in Los Angeles. So I made 25 years ago. I made sure we had a place here, and we grown our network and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going back to childhood now. I was told, because this is what I don't remember, and I don't know why I don't remember it.
I see. I can hardly hear you too.
Okay. This is what I don't remember, and I don't know.
Maybe you can stand up so everybody can see you. Would you mind? You're a handsome creature, you.
It's what I don't remember, and I don't know why I don't remember it. Is that when I was a child, I was bullied, I'm told, very badly by my father.
You mean you don't remember that?
I don't remember it. And
who told you that? A psychiatrist?
No, my mother. And I don't...
How many times did she tell you? Often?
No, she didn't tell me often. We got talking.
How old were you when you were supposed to be bullied?
I'd say between 3 and 10 or something.
You should remember it.
That's what I mean.
Unless she beat you up into unconsciousness or something.
No.
Maybe your mother lies.
Maybe, but I don't think so.
Is your mother a good woman?
Yeah. And
so what is the net result of that? So give me your symptom.
Symptom.
There's got to be a symptom of it.
Yeah, there's got to be a symptom.
Insecurity.
When I was around my father, I'll go back to the first symptom. When I was around my father, sometimes I'd shake like a...
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
But did you shake before your mother told you?
Oh, this was, yeah.
Yeah? Is that right?
Yeah.
So she's right?
She's right, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. That's the evidence.
Yeah.
Do you shake around me?
A little nervous speaking, that's all.
But when you met me, you didn't shake?
No.
Okay? Because some people often project me as their father, and so when I'm very firm sometimes, it looks like meanness. but there's a good anger and a bad anger. There's a good strength and a bad strength. The good strength neutralizes the bad strength. See, go ahead.
So what I'm thinking is that this carries on because I don't remember the.
What carries on? What carries on?
What I'm thinking is that it must have had an effect on me. It does.
Well, what is the effect?
What is the effect?
Because you seem gregarious, outspoken,
Yeah,
and cordial.
Yeah. I think I'm too polite.
Too polite. Fair enough. In other words, you don't speak up when you should,
Yeah.
and you let moments pass.
Yeah.
When
then the timing is out.
Do you tremble a little bit so that you don't say it?
Yeah.
Is that you fear?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's easy to fix. And how? One more question. Do you resent your debilitation? You resent the fact that you let a moment pass and kick yourself. Why didn't I say something?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Possibly.
Yeah? But how do you, when you let those moments pass, what is the... I have moments when in my life I had to make a decision. It was very clear, it needed to be done. But then the thought came, just a small feeling came, that if I spoke up I'd lose everything. That sort of thing. I could lose the ranch.
Right.
And I just watched that, to hell with it, or lose the ranch. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't lose the ranch.
No.
It was just something in me lied. See? Actually, everything got better. But you always think, just ahead, that if you do this, you know, that's not good. You're going to lose your friend, you lose your wife, the kids won't love you anymore, you know, whatever it is. All the things that you somehow attached for you, what appears to be security. So, see, the thing is, it's how strong is your love of truth? How much of a champion are you for that? That's important. And this is what makes the man or the woman. And this is your test. If you live in security, you die in it. Danger, difficult decisions make the man. That means also women. When I say mankind, I don't say womankind. It's kind of doesn't. It sort of fits everybody. So it's those decisions, and so if you understand that, then you have to overcome and speak of it in spite of it, even if your knees are knocking. See? Because if you miss, see, life is fractions of a second of the moment. And my wife, she was here yesterday. She's a jolly little thing. I could grind her into the ground any time I wanted to. And you know, if anybody did to me what she does to me every day, they'll be this size. But you know, it's my wife. So I have to put up with that crap. But I don't have to put up with it like cringe. Oh, here it goes again, and get morbid. No, it's just, there she goes again. And then you try to make the point, and it goes whoosh, whoosh, everywhere else. And come back. This is, you haven't cleaned the refrigerator. The refrigerator is always dirty, and you got another refrigerator outside, and you forget to bring the food inside. I come home and look in the refrigerator, and there's nothing there but is in the refrigerator in the garage, and so I don't know it's there for a week, and I'm always eating old food, or not getting any at all, because as she gets, she doesn't. There's a certain defiances that's tantamount to rebellion, because I'm a strong person. So you can't do big things, you do little things and say, "Oh, I didn't do it, I forgot," but you didn't forget. You know what I mean? So you've got to catch all that. When you try to catch it, it's everywhere. And then when she's got judgment, if she hasn't got a judgment, she'll invent one. It's like the man who comes home from a hard day's work, and his wife's got a long face, and he says, "Hun, what's the matter, hun? What's the matter with you?" Nothing. And it's something. So what is it? No, nothing. But you never could get to what the nothing is. It's not nothing, but she just keeps it just to keep him aggravated. And all of a sudden, over a period of hours that goes by, he feels rejected. Then he gets upset. Now it's something. And what is the nothing? Well, you didn't bring home the milk. But you didn't ask me to bring home the milk. And she didn't. She makes it all up. It's like you go mad. Women are like that. They can't help their stupid little selves. Excuse me saying so. No, they can't help it. The Hebrew word for, called helpmeet. Adam had a helpmeet, it really says, is helper against you. Really very apt Hebrew translation. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had a question. What you're talking about right now,
Yeah.
when there's
We'll come back to you in a minute.
when there's a woman that is behaving like that, where she's obviously has something
The
wrong.
whole problem of life is women needing love, a good kick in the swift kick in the pants in a nice way, or in the panties, one of the two.
But when they get that, when they receive that, and they treat that real love like it's poison or something.
As a poison, yeah.
What do you do then?
We'll talk about women here, because it's good to talk about the women. They should understand what a woman is. And they have to understand that men don't know how to deal with that. This is a very important thing for all of you to understand, especially a 24-year-old kid. You're going to really get into it soon as you become more gregarious and more attractive, because you're an attractive young man. Is that men don't know how to deal with women. And women can't help but play their strong suit. They are born hypnotists. See? And the prettier the woman is, all they have to do is touch a guy. Boing! In hypnotic trance. Yeah, I had to take care of one of my grandsons. I mean, he's a handsome guy, like you are. Tall, dark, and gruesome. But because he had a little problem with his dad and mom at one time, he said he couldn't fix them. So he finds a girl, a wounded dove, and so goes to try to fix her, and immediately becomes entangled so much that he throws everybody on the bus. He throws the whole family under the bus because the girl is cruel and mean, and you can see that he's completely mesmerized. And suddenly he doesn't recognize that he doesn't take criticism. You can't trust him anymore. He isn't himself anymore. And I have to sit him down and spend 2 or 3 hours breaking him. And then he starts to yell at me. And I calm down. We're talking about Karate Kid. He's big, strong, do flips and all kinds of gymnastics and judo. But you see, he sits there, and he comes at me, and I'm not going to react to it. I hold him to the point, and pretty soon he's broken. I broke through, and he says, "Yeah, sorry, Grandpa. You see, I see it now." But you see, I know how to break through that, but the average parent does not know how to deal with the son that comes home who took marijuana, who got caught up with a pretty girl, and pretty soon he doesn't know who his mother is and father is anymore. It's the whole life is around the drug addict, the drug pusher, and he's the addict, and also he is addicted to the charm of the lady. But he thinks it's love. And he goes back to the scene of the crime to help her more, and he gets more deeply involved. And instead of helping her, she's helping herself to him. So who understands this whole thing? Look! So maybe this part of the session should talk about this, because we haven't talked about this before, since we started. Because it's the root of all problems. There's no other root except help her against him. She can't be a helper, but against him. In other words, treacherous. Women are treacherous. They are by nature treacherous. The good one knows it. The good one knows it and still can't help herself. So this is not a criticism of the women. It is she's the unfinished woman of Paradise Lost. Because it goes back to biblical stuff. Right in the beginning it says that Eve tempted Adam, right? And the servant tempted Eve. And he fails and makes the excuse and blames her. Men blame women for their weakness for them. See? When there's real trouble. Or they do not realize they're caught up in a hypnotic way, which in that phase of life, they think they love the women. But they're slowly surrendering their whole life to them, and the women hate them for it. Because what the real woman wants is him to say, when she's unreasonable, put that fruit down, Eve. And naturally, or unnaturally, the woman feels threatened by this man. She wants love. What is that? It's worship. See that? She doesn't. That's called romance. You don't want romance. Screw romance. Evil. My wife still wants romance. She's not going to get me. She wants all she wants. What she gets is love. You are rude in front of people. You're out of order in front of people. You get it in front of people. And then the people watching say, "How can you talk to your wife that way?" As if she was special goods. I said, "Mind your own damn business. If you do this in front of to me in front of people, you're going to get it in front of people. I'm not going to sit here and suppress it. The moment, you got to have, your life is the moment." And I keep saying to my wife, every time we have an argument, go this way and that way, I said, "Stop." She doesn't stop. I said, "Stop." I see her eyes going, boop, 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 boop. She's reading a script. See? She's thinking about what to say. I said, "Stop, look at me. Look at me. Look at me." You're reading a script. You're thinking about the next thing you're going to say. Stop. Because who would put up with this crap? Only me. I've been married 60 years to you. See? Because I care for you. Otherwise I wouldn't bother every day trying to get you to see something. You're only going to see it if you have enough sense to stop and listen and not create, not accelerate it so I have to raise my voice. Stop! She shrivels down. I said, stop. Stop. I'm just doing a little play acting. That's a good, so but then she suppresses it. And she says, I never hear you say sorry. Oh, sorry. That's worse. More intimidation. Who knows what I'm talking about?
That same thing you're talking about happened between my son, who might have been in his latter teen years, and my husband and myself. We were standing in the kitchen, and my son's over there, and I'm across from him.
But it's not just 1 minute. Why are we talking about a whole lifetime of doing this?
Well, what happened was we were bantering back and forth.
Who?
And my son and I got pulled into it, and I shouldn't have.
No. You are trying to correct your son, and I know you. You're not correct to begin with. So
Right.
when you try, women can't correct men.
Let me finish.
No, you can't do it. No, you get pulled in, or he gets pulled in. I would suggest that he gets pulled into you more so than you get pulled into him, unless he's a female, a feminine boy.
No,
Then she's smarter than you are.
No, he's not. But
A
my
feminine man is smarter than a feminine woman, because a man have got bigger brain anyway. So when they become women, they become better women than women. That's not true.
Well,
I know I'm right.
Well, Roy, let me finish the story. Let me finish the story. My husband was witnessing this.
Oh, never mind. You're not making a point. I don't want to hear the story. Just get me. But what point are you making?
My husband.
You're never clear. Whenever you talk, you're not clear.
I know you make that point to me every time.
I can hear it if it is not clear. Just giving a talk.
Well, my husband.
What?
My husband did what you did. He said, "Both of you shut up." And I did, because I knew that was one of those moments of truth that if I kept bantering, my son would see that I didn't listen to my husband, but I did. I just shut up, like my husband said.
So why are you here now?
What do you mean? Why am I here?
Yeah, what is your problem? Because you're not fixed yet.
I know I'm not.
You should have fixed it that way. When you shut up in a good way,
yes.
You're a better person, you respect your husband, and you have no problem coming here. Wouldn't need to be here. So what is your problem?
My problem is fear.
So you resent your husband?
He's not in my life anymore.
But the point is, when he said shut up, you resented him.
I did not.
You should. Well then,
no.
What happened to your
fear
husband?
Fear didn't come out of that.
What happened to your husband?
I divorced him.
Yeah, well, so he said, did he say shut up enough times where you got, I mean, didn't you love your husband?
No. Why
didn't you love your husband?
He wasn't lovable.
Yeah? So when he said shut up, a shut up man who says shut up is not lovable.
But I still...
It's not to resent him.
No, I still knew I had to do that because he was the head of the house.
No, you had to do it because he was stronger than you.
No, I could have kept talking because I know how to banter too.
So why did you divorce him?
Why?
Well, you're not giving me. This is not a love thing anymore. When I tell my wife to shut up, and I say stop, it has a purpose, because unless she stops, she cannot enter the kingdom of God. Stopping, and listening, and listening to see if what I'm saying is sensible. Stop making those excuses. Stop playing with my brain. See, now I'm representing the perfect idea, even if it isn't perfect. If I'm not perfect, I'm becoming. That's what perfection is. I know there's moments. I know the only way I'm going to get to her, or you, is when you start to open up at me, I'm going to shut you down. Or I'll listen to your babble for a while and say, you finished? and you feel uncomfortable and you won't be able to say anything anymore, then I talk to you. I've got to find a way to get you to stop and really listen. Now, this is not necessarily true with all you. You're paying money to listen to me, see? And or you may start to babble. You've seen me after a few, those of you who've been here for a little while. Say, look, just be quiet. You're just not making any sense. Boring. If you're married, you know, women basically, and this is not a criticism for women, because it's the way things are. You know, everybody's going to experience this. Helper against him. See? Helper. She is unfinished. She is possessed through the ages, through the generations. A woman reproduce the women. Women puts the nature of a woman, the nature of the woman that in Paradise Lost, that nature of Eve passes from every woman to her daughter, and that nature slips one to another. But when a boy is born, you know, like this, the day he's born, he gets violated by his mother. The very fact that he's born to a woman violates him at birth. And if she has any sentiment, the slightest sentiment towards a husband or boyfriend, wordlessly, judgment is put. The boy is broken. He is violated. And if there's any resentment towards, and she hasn't done anything yet, just because the man is born from a woman, not born of God. So the presence of the woman violates. Even her love violates. You know, the Indian tribes, some of those Indian tribes in America would make strong warriors. How would they do that? They would tease the child so that when the child wanted milk, they didn't give the child milk. They only waited for the child to get angry and scream and cry, and then they would reward the anger of the child. See that? Now, women have 1,000 ways of doing that. And I don't mean to be rude. They cannot help themselves. They do not know that they're doing it, but the children see it, and the husband experiences it, and because he needs the love of the woman, she's the dope pusher, and he's the dope. She's the born dope pusher, and she cannot help herself but want to dominate him, to rule him, to fix him, to make him over, to nurture him, to mother him. Damned if she does, and damned if she doesn't, because the man feels rejected and wants it more, and pressures her for what isn't good for her to give. So but then she feels guilty she hates him, and awakens a sensuous feeling for him, feel guilty, and then she gives him what he wants, and therefore he's now more mothered, less manly, and so she hates him the morning after the night before. See? Who understands what I'm talking about? See? It's systemic. Good stuff, isn't it? Now, ladies, forgive me, I don't mean... See, it doesn't mean to say you're not good people. And gentlemen, it doesn't mean to say you're bad people. But you just don't understand. And the legacy of this is glorified. All the music, I've got you under my skin. You're damn right that she does. And when they begin, You know, it's all love stories. It's not about, there's no God in it. The whole love of what love is between men and women. It's all love songs. Except when you have Hillbilly, My Dog Died, you know. You got tired of women. Yeah?
And the children pay the price.
Of course the children pay. Because the children watch the war and they take sides. And so if the father is angry and angry and angry because she doesn't listen, and only because because he still has a need for her, you can't correct a person if you have a need for them. You can't go up to your boss and say what you want to say to him because he'll fire you. So you think twice about your boss and you say, yes, sir, anything you say, sir. And anything you say is not always good. But you can also live with a boss that's a bad boss and not say anything and just let him go and hold the job as long as you can just for convenience sake, and you're okay, you can survive it, so long as you don't hate the boss. And know that you can't speak up to him. But it would be nice if you ever have an opportunity when you see your boss is out of order and doing things wrong and people are talking behind his back and they're stealing from him, you walk up to him and say, look, Mr. Jones, I don't want to be a tittle-tattle, but I've been seeing things going on. I have to leave because I can't live like this. I can't stand you being cheated. And the boss might actually be behind all these things for financial, for gain. But that opportunity could actually say, wow, I never had anyone like this before, because your kind of person is rare. And so it'll make you suddenly say that I want this man, he needs to be right next to me. And so so the truth of the matter is, if I can just abbreviate it just a bit, that your wife could love you, although she may hate you at first. There are and you could live happily ever after, even though she will do the same thing again for years and years and years. You keep doing that. She keeps testing you. The women never stop testing. They just want to be sure that that something is in there and nobody else, and that you keep correcting her. She likes that, even though she may be upset a little bit. She's deep down inside, when it's all finished, she has respect for you. See my wife? She's a feisty little creature. Yeah. I'm correcting her every day. How she affects the kids, how she does this. See, 2-3 times a day. Yeah.
But you started the talk, talking about that cesspool of anger that swirls.
Yeah.
It starts with the anger. I see for myself, you talk about the need, the anger. The need comes from the anger. And so the need comes from the anger.
And the anger comes
from
the need.
For me, the need's been, there's a blessing. The need's largely been taken away, which is nice. What's not so nice is the anger's still there.
Well, but if you could if you can overcome your need, if you can see the need
it's a process.
Is the reason for your frustration, and if you can see the need is the reason why she doesn't listen to you, or anyone, see, because need has a certain fear of losing the fulfillment of that need, see? So in other words, you're afraid if you speak the truth to your wife, she won't give you any.
I'm beyond that, I think. I think I'm getting beyond that.
See,
maybe it's just a path I have to keep going down, and maybe you describe that path accurately. No, most people don't know how.
Well, no, see, the need represents an attachment and a servitude for the reward of being needful, a needful servant, a slave. If you have a need, you're a slave. If you have a need for anyone, now I'm not saying I have a need for food. A need for food can also be that, but it can also be a natural need. And also procreation there's also a natural. But when that natural becomes unnatural, because somehow the pleasure of it and the pleasure of food or the pleasure of sex, somehow it gets entangled with feeling good about yourself. see, and I think we can talk about that later if you like, but you do see it can transfer the natural need, and well, food is you need food, you need to eat, but you could live to eat, or how do they say it? There's a way of saying eating to eat, eat to live, and live to eat, see? And so everything for human beings can be perverted. Stamp collecting. You think nothing wrong with stamp collecting, but what if it becomes addictive? Wow, more and more. So your whole life revolves around collecting stamps. And there's a system of rare stamps and all kinds of things that make the whole system work for you. Otherwise a stamp would just be a stamp. See? So therefore you make a profit, you find a stamp with $1 million, wow. Maybe you can look for another one for $1 million to get little highs. See? So gambling, same. Everything on earth can be addictive. But your original addiction is man and woman. It doesn't start any other place but transfers from one thing to another. If it's women, it's drink and women. If it's drug, it's women, drink and drugs. Or less drink, more drugs. And so on. Got it? See? Because then you're always looking for something from those things, and somehow you manage to draw from a bottle. So there's like Satan sits behind the bottle, says, drink me, you'll feel better. See? Yes. You're next. I'll take you next.
How do you reach your adult children in terms of they've moved away, they're troubled? Do you phone them, or do you wait until they call you? Do you take a passive approach, or are you active in trying to impact on them?
You mean you see your kids going wrong?
Yes.
I have a family of 5 kids. I'm sitting on their doorstep all the time.
What do they
I leave them alone, but if I see them spoiling their kids, or not giving them an operation and excusing it, well, he's got adenoids, and I know that he can't breathe. But they're not doing anything about it because they're making a lot of money, and that happens to be a true thing that I'm talking about. So one of them, and so they keep saying, well, I'm taking it to doctors, and they say they'll outgrow it, and they may outgrow it, and but I can see suffering. So I'm going to pay for that. See? How many people you've been to? Oh, I've been to do, and they say, no, something's wrong. Well, just recently, they are admitting that something's wrong, so I can't stop. I'm on the doorstep. And then if I see the kid, he's not man enough in the home, and he doesn't stay home long, and he goes on long trips, he lets the wife be in charge of the children. I see the children taking shape from the wives, being more quiet and not outgoing enough. I'm going to say, hey, on the phone, you're not putting your foot down there. You're letting your wife run those things, and she loves it. She's enjoying herself. I saw, do you know anything about Hasidic Jews, where they walk around with the tassels here and there? Well, the wife runs everything. And the men do all the praying. And I said, I can't stand those people. Yeah, if you want to, I can't stand the Taliban, but they're not much different, except they're nice. They don't hurt anybody, but they hurt the kids. See, and so, but I've seen it that particular religion, the women loved to run businesses and everything, and all the men do is pray. It's all upside down. And it's just as bad as the Taliban, except all the kids are brainwashed. And the men grow up to be they pray all the time, and the women do all the work, and there's no men in there. There's no men in that group of people. So I guess if I was living in that particular group of people, I'd be in trouble, but I'm glad I'm not. See, because my home, the men are men, and the women are women, and my daughter's a little bit more of a man because her mother, had a bit of problem with her, and when she was a little young, she was about to go crazy, and I said, "Don't worry, your mum's crazy. You're okay." So she bonded to me. I saved her life. The only trouble is she's still bonded to me, and she's too strong. She's got more of a man in her than a woman. And so she gets frustrated, and she takes over the house a little bit, and she lets the husband makes more of the decisions, and there's little frustrations, and I've been taking care of her. But those are natural things I'm trying to say. I'm not filling in all the details. But I have to take my son-in-law to task. When I've done that, I'll take my daughter to task and say, "Now see what your part is." And then she cries. And it's all the things that happen in childhood as we're growing up. Because my wife tends to be very stubborn and not take correction very easy. And confuse the kids. See that? There's always that. There's always that. I go to work 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, come home. She's got them for 8 or 9 hours a day, so she can do a lot of screwing. Like, I find out they're eating too much ice cream. And she says such a thing as, "Now, if you eat your dinner, I will give you ice cream." Well, that's like the Indian, teasing and giving them the wrong reason to eat. That is beginning of devastation and an attachment, an unhealthy attachment to the mother. See that?
And the food.
And food, yes. See? And so human beings, the animals don't have the problem. The cow kicks the calf away and says, "Goodbye, now to eat grass." Or die. But mothers tend to want to, when they don't have the love of a husband, and they may have the love of the husband but not recognize it as love because they may think of it as cruelty, not having her own way. So the tendency for the woman is to want to either hate her husband and reject the children, and the boys especially, and keep the girls, or feminize a boy and keep him attached to her after they divorce, so he never, or she never, girl or boy, never has a life of her own, but she exists to make a mother feel secure. See that? Now, I'm only giving, 1,000 different ways. There's thousands of them. But in principle, there's something wrong, always something wrong. Never anything right to begin with. Because we come together not knowing the hell of what our history is about. And it's a history of fall and reproducing in every generation the same thing. So the children take sides with one of the parents. You hate your father, you're bonded to your mother. You hate your mother, and because she's the boss and she's pushy, but your father never corrected her because he's too busy preserving what he needs from his wife, mother. See, and so he's weak. So you hate your father, so you don't know who to bond to. You don't know who to model yourself after. You should model yourself after nobody. I didn't want my children to model themselves after me. I just want to be the person that's strong, corrects, but it's a lifetime job, even when they're growing up, even when they're 40, when they're 58. My son David has harbored a lot of resentment for a long time, but he covers it. And he acts very pious, and he can do my show better than me sometimes. See? But then he's been out in the sun when he had $2 a yard skin. I got $25 a yard skin. It's nice and tanned, you know, olive skin, Adonis. Bronze, never affected by the sun. But he did. So he goes, these cancers. And I said, David, I mean, they're big. I said, still got that resentment. Second time married, wife ran away. I mean, mean wife, really bad. But if it was me, I'd have tamed her. But he's not me. So, so the thing is, but she's really, she ruined all the kids. Every one of them. I'm getting them all back, don't worry. So they're coming back to Grandpa. But going through the hard way, you know, coming out of the cold with tattoos and stuff. So, but they're going to be fine. But I see I'm involved. I'm involved with my family. I'm involved with, even when they are grown up, I can still be the repository of the wisdom they don't have. And so, and not see that they're a little irritated with their wives, etc., or that they're not strong enough with their children, or whatever it is. Whatever it is, I always talk to them. And sometimes raise my voice. And they're big, strong, strapping kids. You know, kids, they're my kids, 58 years old, one of them. The youngest is 47. But they love me for that. I mind my own business and leave it alone, but then it will come a time when I need to say something. And then it goes, it starts. I had a huge family confrontation. I got it all fixed the other night. So anyway, everybody went part of the way and everything's fine. We settle it. I'm not going to leave it unsettled. I'm going to kick someone's butt. If they're wrong, they're wrong. I'm not there just their dad. I'm not. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. And if my son is wrong and my daughter-in-law is right, my son gets it. I don't owe any allegiance to flesh and blood. See?
Yeah, I kind of have something to expand on that. Well, I guess I kind of have to set up a story. But one day my dad called you on the radio, and you actually tore him to shreds. You called him a coward.
I did.
And yeah, and it affected him in a big way. But he turned around, and because you said that, he came at me in a way that was, he reacted to you calling him a coward, and he came at me in a way that was wrong, where he tried to become authoritative.
Yes, like me.
With the wrong energy.
Yeah, that's it.
So he...
You got it.
Yeah, so he started to want to make me, and I have my overall, point at the end of this. He started to want to make me go the medical route with my problems. So he tried to put the clamp on me in the wrong way. So I guess my point is that in order for you to have authority, you have to have the right wisdom before you can become an authority. And
Correct.
if you don't, you can misstrew your words, everything. And he came down me in the worst of ways at the worst of times. And I felt defensiveless, and I just...
He meant well. He kind of thought he meant well.
And, right. He thought he was doing the best for his kids, but it was the exact opposite. He wanted me to go try every possibility to get myself on the right track. So I guess my point is that the most important thing you can do is figure yourself out before you figure anybody else out.
Don't resent your father.
Right.
And then you're old enough to say, no, I'm not going to go that way.
Yeah.
And you're free.
It's kind of what, I'm here now.
Yeah, you're free.
And he paid
Don't
the
be
way,
afraid
so.
to speak up to say, with all due respect, Father. You can actually do it well.
Right.
With all due respect, Father, you're wrong. I want to do it my way. I'm 20 years old.
That's right.
And that's it. And then let him fly off the handle. You have not done anything wrong to speak up.
Yeah. Well,
See, you've shown respect, with all due respect.
Mhm.
That's add it. You don't have to say it, or you can say it.
That was my point.
Got it?
Yeah.
And if you do that all your life, question authority. Don't let a wrong relationship with your parents then become a wrong relationship with a teacher, so that they push stuff on you that you know better not to believe. Or it's not important to you, so to hell with it. I'll fail this course. It's better to succeed in life and and fail in school than succeed in school and fail in life. You've got to make those decisions. So I actually inculcate, in that sense, my kids to say to the teacher, go fly a kite in a thunderstorm. And I took them out of school. I took them out of public school and left them alone. Bingo, all successful. My son Mark, he's a CEO and he owner of TRN, Talk Radio Network, 1,000 stations. He built it out of nothing. And he became expert in he built a whole real estate company, and he became a diplomat to Japan. I mean, in a little tiny town, he did God knows $100 million in a year. It's just a little tiny town. It's just a huge business. Prestige Homes, and he sold it to his brother. And it came with me to, we're not knowing too much about radio, but immediately, magic. The most difficult problems, bang, 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 bang. And he faces even more difficult problems way up there. And so it's more than he can bear, so there was always a little problems. And I sit on the doorstep, sitting on his doorstep, don't get angry. Don't get upset now, watch it, see? But you always have to go back to that. You ought to go back to that basic principle, because all the other problems rest on it. They're getting to you. They're getting to you. Realize it. So I can sit on the doorsteps. I sat on the doorstep of one of my sons and he made a big mess of his business. You can't do it that way. You can't do it. You can't do it that way. I was there every day. Then his business went, and I had to bail him out, and took him 20 years to start even paying me back. But he's now very successful. I said, now don't pay anybody back until, because if you get $12 an hour, you can't pay anybody back. So tell everybody I can't pay you back now. We'll later on. So 20 years goes by, he's paying people back, but still, he's doing the right thing. Pay me back last. But he didn't have to pay all of it. You know how that is. See? It's love. Yeah. Now, go ahead.
So you looked at me and you said, I'm a nothing person.
Well, but I'm not saying it in a derogatory sense.
I know.
You've got to start taking a stand and not worrying about the consequences. Now, there is a time where strategy is involved. When you're in the business world, there's this way of saying that. You put your cards close to your vest. Isn't that how they say that? So, but that's psychological warfare. But it still requires the same calmness and the same wisdom. So even if it devastates your enemy, and it will. But when you're married, you don't want to devastate your wife, do you? So you have to be more patient and suffer consequences as long as possible. And always make sure that, for instance, when I first got married to my wife, I was only earning $50 a week. So we couldn't afford, we had to have a budget. But she'd come home with Coca-Cola and all kinds of crap. So I had to teach her how to shop. And I wouldn't have to have a checkbook. I would make sure she was trustworthy with that checkbook. I'm not saying just because you married my little darling. I only knew her 2 weeks before I married her anyway. So I'm not going to give you the damn checkbook. You're not my partner yet. You have to prove yourself. Men are stupid. They get married, oop, here's a checkbook. The worst thing you can do. It's like suddenly because she becomes your government once more and more and more. You have to work your damn head off.
But Roy, what I want to say is that
Fun, isn't it?
is that I feel at the core of that nothingness that you're talking about.
Yeah, but it's true.
I know, but what I want, okay.
I didn't mean to. I care for you.
I know you do.
I have to tell you straight.
You're telling me the truth.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have always had this thing, not always, of course, but for a very long time, of not, I even thought it to myself, I don't seem to have a standard, really, myself.
Yes.
And I would think, and that's why I would get pulled in different directions, which is happening today, not today, but with my family, I've got Jesse and one daughter on one side saying something, 3 daughters and a son on the other side saying something, and I'm in the middle.
And you got kids born out of wedlock.
Yeah,
and kids.
And I don't know, you know, it's hard for me
But you understand,
to determine what's right.
You don't count for anything. You need to count for, you're married, if you have children, you have to stand for something, either rotten or good. But you got to stand for something. But I think the Bible says, don't be lukewarm, I'll spit you out. Doesn't it say the Bible says it?
Yes.
Don't be lukewarm.
Right.
I mean, have the courage to be wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it better to stand for something you might be wrong, at least you're taking a stand?
Well, look.
Is that...
You got to take a stand. Look, mistakes are good things. Suffering is a good thing. Because when you make a wrong decision, you're going to have pretty bad consequences. And if you get upset, your intuitiveness will suffer, and you'll be more wrong decisions. And you'll have more wrong decisions.
I see,
and if you have any luck, it's only bad luck. And then you will say, what's wrong with me? Why do I look for love in all the wrong places? Why is the only luck I get bad luck? Then you start asking yourself the question, well, I can help that person, but I can't help a person who says, okay, which way is the wind blowing today? Can't be that way. Don't you know right from wrong?
I do.
Then why don't you, if you know right, why don't you assert it?
Yeah.
Say, excuse me, is my eye hurting your elbow? I'm just saying it backwards, but makes the point.
That's what I need to do, and I can see how not doing that and letting things go by will leave me confused and thinking I don't know.
Leads you to a loveless, desolate life. You're still a young woman. You can still put your foot down. And if you put your foot down, you're going to tick everybody off. And don't expect for people to love you right away. Expect people to be able to think you're crazy. Mind your own business. Okay, then maybe you should, but at least you said it. Got it?
Yeah.
You don't have to, and then you decide whether, you just wait for a while, maybe they change their mind and call you, say, sorry, Mom. And then you start, or you just leave them alone. If all your kids are going to leave you, that's the way it should be. You made your stand, and you don't worry. You won't feel when you do that, and they all desert you. You will not feel alone.
Yeah.
God's with you. That's why you don't feel alone, but you don't feel God with you. You don't know. You don't know that's what it is. Understand that? You seem to grasp that, didn't you? I see that little head nodding. You're going to lose a lot of weight that way.
I did a terrible thing. I had some very troubling, morbid thoughts, and they were going through my mind, and I was trying to cast them out myself, and I can't, because I heard you you were just talking to that other lady.
Do you have the meditation?
Yes, I do.
But the meditation is, how can I say that, it won't cure anything. meditation won't cure anything. It's not a cure. It's a way to paradise lost. It's follow the yellow brick road. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the woods. Is this where it goes? And suddenly you're there. In your head. And therefore, you're where the door is and opens. Knock, doors open. And then comes your new life. Be still and know I am God. Simple. What is stillness? That's the question, isn't it? Is stillness a blank mind? No. Is a stillness a mantra? What is meditation? But that is a simple, simple, simple secret a 5-year-old can understand. A 5-year-old can understand it better than a 50-year-old. Yes.
My problem is anger. Most of the time I can see it and it's okay, but at certain times, whatever happens to me, I go off. And my kids are afraid of me going off. And I find it now, I work for my daughter and we're kind of in together, that I'm affecting her.
Well, what is the kind of thing?
What triggers me? It's
the kind
really,
of thing?
Well, this past week has been really bad because trying to get here has been a nightmare. But a friend...
daymare, because you're going...
Because I was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was just, everything was going against me. And so the other day, a friend was supposed to work for me. And so then she comes in and she says, oh no, she can't work. Well, I went off on my daughter. But it's just like, it triggers me.
What would you...
I don't know why.
Let me hear it. Let me hear the exact circumstances so I can see what the spark is.
I take it personal.
Take what personal?
Anything that you say to me, I take it personal. So
anything anybody say to me is...
Most of the time it's
well,
right now.
Give me just what anything is.
Well, at this particular time, I just felt like I shouldn't be coming here. And so I was going to cancel and I'm just going to lose all my money. So when she said that to me, instead of looking for... The girl that was supposed to work for me, instead of looking for an answer... like my daughter says...
So let me stop there. The girl that was working for you didn't show up, so it made it difficult for you to come here. Is that what it is?
Yeah, she said that she wasn't going to come today, actually.
So therefore that left you in the lurch somehow,
right.
And then it prevented you from wanting to come here. So then you thought to yourself, oh, I've lost all my money and all the rest of it.
And I just went off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, but it's not that I go off, it's like I can't stop.
Yeah, well, but it's a petty thing because if the woman can't work for you, or if she has something more important, like a son died or something, then would you still be angry with her? You probably would, because it's all about you.
Right.
See?
That's what she said to me. She said, she's a very good friend, and she tells me what she sees. And she says...
See, I'm a good friend.
You didn't look at an answer. I don't look for answers. It's like it just sets me off.
I know.
And I have done this, but not often. But my kids are afraid of me because I go off. And I don't know how to stop it.
Well, once you start it, it's hard to stop.
Yeah. Well, I feel like my life depends on this. This is important.
I know. And you meditate?
Uh-huh.
How long?
Oh, a long time. There's a lot going right.
Are you getting better?
Yes.
Well, I think you just need to take that in its stride. So you need to watch for those little things that get... Look.
But I'm hurting my daughter.
I know.
It's all right if I hurt me.
But the thing is, no. Then if you hurt your daughter, it's all right if you hurt me. But if you hurt your daughter, that's worse.
Yeah, it's very much worse.
You see? So when you say you hurt your daughter, it's much more serious.
Mm-hmm.
But you make it light, saying, well, if you hurt me, I'm all right. But she did hurt you. Let's say it was your daughter that said that. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
If she couldn't work that day for some reason, and you love her, it's got in the way of what you want to do.
Right.
So, but if you're calm, I tell you this, if you could understand that circumstances change, that there is nothing in life that won't change, won't get in your way for the things you would like to do, especially the good things. And I'm trying to remember Machiavelli. Machiavelli, you think of him as a very bad person, don't you? Machiavelli is just a Machiavellian, but actually he was an advisor to the princes, how to regulate and to control the population. And he would say such things about, well, the way you control a population is to act, not be religious, but act like you're religious and carry your Bible under your arms, but don't be what you appear to be, but just act that out, because then you're not a threat to people, and you confuse people and upset them, and you control them. See? You see? He does all these things, and he seems like such a nice person, but he's doing just the opposite of what he says. And that's control. And if you do what you say, and you're a good person, you don't have control, you're just a good king. And because you don't want control, you want your people to be sovereign. See that? So he says also, though, he wrote the book, The Republic, if I'm not mistaken.
Not the Prince.
No, but he wrote the book, A Republic. The Prince, that's the one where he says all the cunning things. I say, huh?
I thought Plato was Republic.
No, but he also wrote a book called The Republic. And I'm almost sure that's true. But but in one of his quotes, I think it's from that book, he says, in life, a person that wants to do good things, I'm paraphrasing, there's always a person who wants to do good things, and that is good. But right next to it, there's that which wants to take that away, wants to destroy you. And he says it more poetic. He says, therefore I conclude, you cannot have one without the other. He's dead right. Everything I've ever done is trying to be good. There's always something trying to tear it down. And so, but it doesn't tear down, even though it does tear it down. And I'm blocked for years. So I'm not fazed by it. It does. But I can do things in spite of everything that stops me. So even if I can't move forward ahead, even if I can't really achieve the things I know I can achieve, the fact that I deal properly with this disadvantage and all the disadvantages put on me, even if you have to put your head on the block, and then you're just going to have to say, oh well, it is what it is, and you wait. It's not as bad as putting your head on the block, but the point is it goes as far as that. So when you come out the other side, 20 years later, with me it's been 30, 40 years, I'm a better man. I'm a better man, so much better that I'm able to do the things beyond that in a way I never could have done before. Because all those years I was purging myself by patient endurance of all the problems, all the iniquities that came against me. I just have to bear it and not hate my enemy. Now let me just say something about that. Evil doesn't have a body. It doesn't have a body. So it gets into people, and I think through their feet. And maybe that's the reason our bottom of our feet are called the sole. I don't know.
When I was a little kid, I always drew my feet up.
Always the same thing. You always think, coming through your feet, you always put your covers on, you make sure. Got it. See? It's a sense of that. Because I see little creatures in there in the room. And those little creatures are real. But little children can see because they're not corrupted, and they can see the invisible. It's visible to them. And then your kid, the father says, it's just your imagination. Bad. It's not your imagination. You actually see it. I remember, I'm getting off the subject a little bit. I live on the water, and there was a little idol thing, a kind of tiki doll or something, but made of clay or something. And they had that there. And my son got up in the middle of the night and says, "Something in my room." See, and the doll was there, that thing was there. It's actually a fact. And he says, "I can see it." I said, "Okay. It's that doll." See? So there is something here. So I took the doll and threw it out the window into the water. So get out of here. And so I acknowledged that it was there. See that? You don't say it's your imagination. You destroy your children. Oh, little things like that. It's real.
It would come visit. The interesting thing for me is, if I called out Dad, because the dark man was there, that evil was there, moving over me, he would come in, he didn't believe it, and he didn't think it was there.
Yeah.
But because I knew him as a strong, good man, every time he showed up, it was right, because it would just flee away. So that my belief and faith in him was enough to make that disappear. And he would laugh some, like, "Oh, there's nothing there." He would say, "It's your imagination." But he was good enough and strong enough that I realize it's now looking back, that he still stood, like, my trust in him still was enough to make that depart. I don't know if it's always departed, Roy. It probably resides within me now to some extent. But as a child, that protected me.
I had a young man who said the same thing. He says, "When I was young, I see these things on the end of my bed." And he said, it frightened me. And then one day, it frightened me a lot. And then it disappeared. And then 40 years later, I didn't know where they went. They came beside me. See? I haven't given him an exorcism, he's fine. See that? See? Psychiatry doesn't understand this. They're spiritual forces. We're just not flesh and blood creatures. We have another component which is immensely important. And psychiatry is godless. And it's clueless and godless. But you see, the secular aspect of life, the world around us will give us wrong concepts of God, wrong solutions, wrong variations of what to do and what rituals. And all the rituals are hypnotic. You see the Muslims going, where are you? And they bow down 6 times a day. So 5 times a day, is it? 5 times a day. But that's what keeps the programming going. That's what reinforces the program. They don't know that. They're not aware of it.
The rosary beads do the same thing. The rosary beads?
The rosary beads the same thing. The rosary beads the same thing. There's no religious significance for that. But there can be. See the cross I've got? But look at it. It's just an old stick. It is a symbol. But the reason why it works is who holds it. And also, evil is as much conditioned by shock. Jesus is the shock, the defeat. And so therefore it's scarred by this. It's been a defeat, it's lost its power. So, the cross around your neck won't do you much good. It won't protect you. And if you think it does, you don't find God. Got it? It's just a piece, just a silver cross. And so this is not really doing it. So I'm approaching a person, that self in there, and saying, see this traumatizes you, doesn't it? You don't like this. You don't want to be reminded. See, because it's made people forget it. And that's how forget that defeat. Forget to find the salvation that is inherent in its defeat. So if you can just bring this up, or I can just do it by being me. See? But sometimes this helps. Especially if you have a big one. Now I don't know, they may have gone off the track a little bit, but I want to explain to you about evil. So, it gets into people. And it gets into people normally, naturally or unnaturally, through the generations. You know, as a mother affects the child, because the father is not able to cancel that effect, because his wife is also his mother. If you see what I mean, it's awful. See? And dominant. It could be a subtle spoiling mother for the husband, father, or it could be a dominant bitch woman that, see that, and then pretty soon he becomes a son of one. And then there's war, and he puts her down, but see, she's still servicing in her, because this is the part of it, she becomes, you can reverse the roles. He becomes strong, getting his power back, but he's not really getting his power back. She's still, what she's doing when she gives in is feeding the beast that got into him, see, from her. So he has a wrong idea of what power is. It's force, it's the beast. And therefore she ends up serving the beast, but the devil purpose is fulfilled. There are no men. See that? So you're either a weak man or a beast man, but there are no men. See how bad that gets? Well, you see, all this is, you know, when you understand these things, the sum total of it, that's where the good force comes from. And understand all these games. And what's in you understands I understand. And I'm making sure you do understand that I understand it. And even if I don't say it, the energy, the levels like an onion building up inside from dealing with the right thing, with the right attitude and the right time. It's building another self. Otherwise you've got another self building up itself, a substitute that goes back to the scene of the crime, not for to cure it, but to get reinforcement for what it made you. Can't get away from it. You look for love in all the wrong places. You look for religion in all the wrong places. To feel good, to feel religious, with the organ playing and all the statues there, they're not supposed to be there. Thou shalt not make any graven image. And they make a graven image, Jesus on the cross. This is not good. This is a violation right away, and you walk into the church. It's everywhere. So when you understand this, you can be free. Question everything, see? So let me give you a subtle thing. This is very subtle. So when it gets into a person, of course it's in you too, because everybody has that thing, but it's either the superior one or the inferior one, right? The bully and the coward. But the coward is simply the extension of the bully, who's also a bully if he finds his own coward. Follow it? If that's it. Or he remains a slave of the bully and gives his life to the bully. So, but the thing is, how do we deal with evil in people? First of all, the question is, this is not something to question, just for me to explain, okay? The question is, I've been talking for an hour and a half already. Can you believe this? Does it feel like an hour and a half? I'm looking at the clock. Wow. It's more than an hour and a half. Time goes quickly, see? The first thing that you have to understand, if you want defense, is that you do not know whether the person is really wicked or infected. So the behavior is the same. So you can't tell the difference whether it's a mean person or someone who's really mean. One that's infected with like a disease. And he can't help it like you can't help it, right? See that? So if your children understood, if you said to your children, look, I'm obsessed by something. And when you see me this way, would you please be patient? That's why I tell my grandchildren, Mom and Dad sometimes don't see it. You see it. Understand they don't see it. The way you get them to see it is be patient. Your mother and dad will feel silly. And when it's time, you speak up. Just be quiet. Don't fight your dad. Don't fight your mom. Don't try to explain yourself. You only just feed it. See? You can do that with your kids. Don't worry. So the first thing, that's number one. If you understand that of themselves they can do nothing, and forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Everybody says, this sounds like a bunch of words, but they actually do not know what they're doing. Their subconscious forces blind them to what they are doing. They think they're doing the right thing even when they're nailing him to the cross. He's saying, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. Actually, they didn't. It looked like they knew what they were doing. They were just live, and they got brains, they got a hammer and chisels and nails. They don't know what they're doing. Most important thing is not so much for the person, not so much for self, but it's for you. Because evil wants you to hate it. And the reason why it teases you for your life force. Because it has no soul. It has a soul. Excuse me. Soul. Didn't go on tape. Excuse me, I can't help being a little rude once in a while. Got a sense of humor a little bit. Actually distracted myself. So Satan made me do it. But point is,
they can't help themselves.
But they have a place that's like a soul that has to be filled with your essence. So it has to drain your life force. So it has the power to grow. And it grows by feeding off your failure to deal with them correctly. Got it? Now, who's going to talk about this on a Sunday morning sermon? So now, yes, please. Because you experienced all this.
Charles, would you stand up?
Charles, would you stand up? Thank you very much. Handsome-looking creature.
Yes.
When you say that evil grows in them, everyone is thinking, oh, that must be an evil person that this evil is growing in.
Yeah, but it's not an evil person necessarily.
Necessarily, it's not an evil person.
But it can be. It can be one.
It can be.
Yeah.
But it may not even look like an evil person.
That's
it
right.
may be an innocent person that is the threat to evil.
It's
so
infected.
You guys are all
It's
at
infected.
risk because you want to get better. And that gives him a motive to do a little extra work, to work with your mind, to work with your sense of guilt, to work with all the things that are inside of you to make you preoccupied and not objective. So just be aware of that. This is a targeted area right here.
That's a good point, thank you very much. See, because he's been through all that, all those machinations, you know. So I'm going to continue with the point. It's very important, so you understand. Because when you're angry with your kids, you feed off of them. So you get worse and they get weaker. That's where their fear comes from. And then the fear is reverence. So the fear now feeds you. And it can't help but feed you. Now you understand? Okay. Does that help? Yeah, okay. See how you an understanding heart fixes it. See now. We'll continue a little bit more. And so this is how you win. This is how you win. When I say win, you don't lose. The whole purpose in life is not to play the game so you neither win or lose. Because you don't want to win. If you win, you become them. You don't want to be them. And you don't want to be a slave of them. Because that's the only two choices you got if you're playing the game of winning. Because you have to, the king is dead, long live the king or queen. That's what you become in that particular role, in that sect, in that particular place. And so, for your own sake, you have to, the whole idea is in enduring the outrage. Did you ever see the Gladiator? Mm-hmm. How many saw the Gladiator? Good. So I can make. Do you remember what was the hero's name?
Maximus.
Huh?
Maximus.
Maximus. Well, that was the hero.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, he's standing in the arena, and Caesar himself comes out to challenge him, right? And he's got the Roman soldiers all around him on his side, and he knows full well he's going to win because he stuck a little needle in his lung, so while he was being chained, and he's sitting there, so he goes one step further. He said, I remember how I strung up all your kids and raped your wife and disemboweled them. And then you see Maximus getting angry, then he stopped. Because he's trying to get him angry to weaken him morally. But it didn't. Even though he was weakened physically, he beat him. See that? The mind, it's really a great metaphor. And it's all for you that you go through life not judging a person evil, because it could be a person infected, like you're infected, like you're infected, like you're infected. Everybody here is infected, that's why you come in to be disinfected.
I have a question just to expand on that. Let's say...
You're doing pretty good, Keaton.
Huh?
You're doing pretty good these days.
Well, thank you. Let's say you notice that you feel uncomfortable around somebody, and you assume that that's judgment. And my question is this. I kind of got stuck because I don't know how to word it properly. But
the best you can.
Okay. What is the proper way, I guess, since you never want to judge anybody, because really it harms yourself when you judge somebody else.
But there's two kinds of judgment. One's a good one.
Discernment and judgment.
If you don't add the emotion to what you see is wrong.
Right.
Or right. Because judgment of a right person is also judgment. You judge a person right, you judge a person wrong, you will be deceived by that person you judge as right.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just see he's a nice person, and get to know him, and after many, many years, you may do business with him, but you don't say, wow, that's a really nice person. I can trust that fellow. No, you can't. You're judging. And you sort of like, if you judge a person, if a person is there to get you to judge him that way, he will deceive you.
Here's my question, and it kind of comes off in a different alley. Let's say I notice all this stuff, but the feeling of uncomfortableness doesn't dissipate, it only increases. and it makes me more sensitive to my surroundings. Thus, I feel like I'm judging that person more because I'm more sensitive to them.
So you see a person that something wrong with it, right?
No, I think because of my own insecurities, I'm
But start again. You meet a new person. Say you meet a new person.
Okay.
So how's the reaction? Does that apply what you just said?
Sure. Let's say I feel uncomfortable. And
in other words, you meet a new person and you feel uncomfortable around them.
Right.
Without a word being said.
Just for any reason. Right. I'm talking in general here.
Yeah. No, but that's a very important, but that's the sum total of all your conditions of anger.
Right. And
so that you become sensitive even to a bottle of milk.
Right. And I get that.
You'd be sensitive around a bottle of milk if a bottle of milk's been mean to you. And every time you see a bottle of milk, you feel uncomfortable around a bottle of milk.
Mm-hmm.
And if you spill some of that milk and someone says, "That's a sin. How dare you?" Then you think of you're able to you feel you get programmed to think of that as a sin. And the reason why it is a sin, because you judged him for telling you that it's a sin, and you couldn't stop believing it. So therefore, even though it's not a sin, it becomes a sin because you doubted yourself, one.
It's the doubt. That's probably why my uncomfortableness is increasing, and it doesn't dissipate.
Well, now you must. So I understand that.
I'm confused.
So you have to have that music, you know, James Bond music, with the music, and where you have to unwrap the paper. What's it? Well, that's TV series, Mission Impossible, and then you have to burn up the instructions. So now your instructions are, whenever you feel uncomfortable around people, just watch it.
Okay.
And see that it's only because then you start to get irritated with the person.
Right, and it's like a twisted irritation, not directly towards him, but more
Towards
so my conditioning coming up.
Just your conditioning. That's all right.
Right.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
It's just between you and yourself, and
I
you
see.
look them straight in the eye,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody will know that you feel uncomfortable.
I see. Because when I twisted it, and I thought maybe I need to do something about the situation when it had nothing to do with it. It was more internal rather than external.
Yes.
And I got confused that way.
Yeah, but not now?
No, I don't think so at all.
Cleared up?
Clear. Yeah.
And you may still get it, It's okay.
Okay.
It may be, you may feel like you want to break the silence and say something first.
Yeah.
It's much better you can if you want to, break the silence, because sometimes it's awkward when you're meeting someone, you're sitting there and you don't know what to say.
I'm thinking about, yes.
See?
Yeah.
So it's okay to feel the uncomfortable. You can just sit and wait. It's actually better to let them break the silence. If you can bear the little pain for a while,
okay,
let the other person break the silence, make him uncomfortable to talk to you.
That helped me out a lot. All right. I get it.
If I break the silence, with making sure I'm controlling the debate. Got it? Yeah.
Thank you.
See, he asked the questions. As he asked the questions, he's now ready to say, "Oh, I see that." He doesn't have to remember what I just said. It's going to work because he feels lighter when I said it.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Roy,
Yes,
I have a question. Going back to the little demons and creatures that may chasing you while you're sleeping. In my religion, they make us think that we have an angel that is taking care of us.
In your dream?
No, I mean all the time. That he's like a.
Do you feel like you have a guardian angel?
Yeah, it's a good to think like that. Or it's just.
Actually, it's quite sweet.
Yeah, because I mean.
Could I borrow him?
You alone.
Could you rent him out? You have a nice business.
Yeah. It's good to think that we have an angel guard.
I believe you have an angel. You don't even need to be here.
Oh, okay.
You're wasting your money. You have an angel behind you. You're good.
Oh, okay.
You just need to be more outspoken, that's all.
Okay.
See, you come from a culture that is submissive.
Yeah.
I have a lady that works for me for 14 years, Maria, which is like part of the family. And then she bought a car, and she paid more for it than she should. And I called up the salesman, I read him the riot act. I said, how dare you take care of this, blah, blah. I really gave him hell. And so, but I looked out for her. I said, now Maria, you know, you're too easy. You've got to be more outspoken. It's your culture that's suppressed you. It's a good culture, but it's also a suppressed culture.
Okay.
So, actually, she's,
and also,
after the years, she's getting so much better.
But no, you cannot control it. Also, I have another question. Where we are when we are sleeping? I mean...
Well, last night, I don't know where I was last night.
I mean, we are...
What happens? Why does time go quickly, as you say?
Yeah.
When... Where does time...
I think he said, where are we when we are sleeping?
Yeah.
Where did we go?
Well, where am I while I'm awake? You know how long this days go? The day goes fast as the nights. Except I'm doing something in my sleep, so to speak. I have a consciousness. See, I said, look, it's almost 12 o'clock. Now, you were in here almost 2 hours. It doesn't feel like 2 hours, does it? Where have you been all these 2 hours? You could be bored to death for 2 hours. You could be bored even more bored to death for 4 hours. Sometimes we go that long. Where are you? Time is different when you're conscious. I wake up one morning, I'm 84. And I look back, it's a dream. It's a dream but somehow here I am, as part of the dream, but when I look back, when I'm 86, that'll be the dream again. See? It's like a dream, but it's like a living dream. So when you go to sleep, or you're going to anesthetic, your consciousness is your body is asleep, and so the body doesn't transmit. See, animals, they have any feeling. They have a feeling, but they're not conscious of it. Because I remember I had a rabbit, and in the backyard, and it got its leg caught in something, and it was dragging it around, and it was eating. I mean, I said, how come the rabbit isn't screaming and crying? It's just adapted immediately, so it does the best it can. But that leg was absolutely broken. I had to put it to sleep. The thing is, it's not, I don't feel that. They're not aware of the feeling. So when I had my operation, I can't remember. I can never remember what happened to me. Reason is because my consciousness was not there to observe it. See? So my consciousness, I know my consciousness is still there, but the factor of time that the consciousness is capable of recognizing in your daily lives. See, I recognize my hand is moving. Hello, hand is moving, see? I'm conscious of that hand, I'm conscious of moving, I'm conscious of producing circumstances, good or bad. But I'm conscious of that, and that consciousness is rewarded, in a sense, because of what I do, or punishes me, conflict, if I don't. But when my body is asleep, it does not transmit all of this to my consciousness, so my consciousness is still there. But time, I'm not measuring time anymore. I'm not taking into account time. But I understand me. A day, a week, is now maybe an hour. It feels like an hour. I say to the lady that helps us every week of Saturday morning, Maria, it was yesterday. I'm paying you every day now. And she says the same thing. Time flies. But it depends on how you live. See, because the more conscious you become, the less time is important. But if you're living a wrong life, time drags. If you're in prison, time drags. Agony. You want to do things to kill time. You want to play tic-tac-toe and kill the time. But you've got more and more things to do, but less time to do it in. And there's a conflict. But as you become more mature, time's not important. And whether you live or die is not important. What is important is do the right thing in this time. So now I come back to my wife, and I want to continue on with this other thing. So when I talk to my wife and I say stop, because I love you, I'm trying to get you to see your compulsion, to hurt, to control, to excuse, to confuse, rather than you face it. And you're not hearing me. You're blabbering, one way or the other, changing the subject. Before you know, you don't know what the hell you're criticizing her for. See? So, if she doesn't stop, it doesn't get through. The passport to Paradise Lost is someone, who will you find will love you and stop you? It's almost dangerous to try to stop a person and get a person to see the truth. Not even your friends you can lose. Is that right? People don't love the truth. They say they do, only because they go to church and think that's the truth for them. So, you're here if you can just listen, and you are, and as I'm talking, you stop your own thoughts. And you notice that's why time goes quickly. Because you're not in time. You're not in your body experiencing the time. And the more noble you become, the lighter time is on you. The less you notice the time. Because you're becoming a timeless self. That how something can exist without time, that's a metaphysical thing. Matter cannot exist without time. It can't exist. Time makes things change and decay. Time passes. So time flows. If it passes, it flows. It comes and goes from past to future, future to past, or whatever. But see, so here we go back now to our, that's a little shortcut, and I'm going to come back to the real problem of dealing with people. So when you are saved, what I do here is help people to find the salvation experience. And when they find the salvation experience, they find, like, who was it said that I find when I find now that I can't be angry. Even I want to be angry, I can't be angry. This is a very novel thing. I cannot be angry because I'm coming from a different place, from a timeless place. You're a timeless. Your soul is a timeless creature, but you can experience time only because your body experiences it, and you're in your body, to the degree that you're much more objective and less entangled with your body and with circumstances and outcomes. Do you see? Whatever I do has a consequence, and my life is, if it works, wow, that's a surprise. So I don't anticipate the surprise. I don't do it because of an outcome. I just do it for the right, and all of a sudden something surprises me that I least expect. And it's what's God's working. Remember I said that you don't have an original thought in your head, whether it's a good thought or a bad one. And so that if He puts in your head, if you say to yourself, yes, I like boats. And so I once saw a boat coming down the channel. I said, that's the kind of boat I would like. And then I forgot about it. Never thought about it. Said, yeah, I could never afford that. But that idea wasn't mine. God put that there for he put the thought there.
Because he knows what it's going to give.
Yeah, he knows how to give good things to those he loves. See, he knoweth what you need. So you can't even. You mustn't say, "I'm going to have that boat. I'm going to work for a Cadillac." They do, and which for power, some of the ministers do that to you. Let's make a goal. Let's work towards it. Work towards getting a Cadillac. No. You don't want anything. And if you want something, it's not a want, just an idea. And the idea, he gives to you. And he will make it come true. So the next time I see that boat, it's not in Oxnard, it's in Ventura Boat Yards. I'm walking past, oh, there it is, sitting out of the water. I said, wow, that's a neat boat. That'd be nice. I could never afford one like that. I saw an ad, so I jumped the gun. I bought a little one, a little motorboat, so I can go fishing. And so I picked up the phone to see what that's all about. I know a good boat when I see it. I can't build one, but I know good when I see it. But it was very, very inexpensive. I said, that can't be. I said to him, I just bought a boat. If you give me full price on it, I'll take it. Well, it turned out 7 years later, I made $17,000 on it after using it 7 years. Hey, so that makes me really Jewish. That's a Jewish God. He's a good businessman. Yeah, I'm going to finish my thought, but I'll take my call here.
Okay, so when you were talking about evil versus infected.
Now we're getting back to the subject.
Because it's like I deal with a person in my immediate family who I think, now that you've made a distinction, I guess she's infected. My mom, she's like very critical.
She's infected.
So,
but is she a wicked mom or is she an infected man? It shouldn't matter to you one way or the other because you're not to judge. If you just look at mom and saying she's ranting and raving and she's doing her old thing again, and if you just look at mom and just be patient with her, she may feel very, very silly after a while, and then you say, "Are you feeling all right, mom?" Because you know, yeah, I was just angry at you, but the point is you weren't angry back. Because if you're angry back, you feed her. If you're angry back, she gets inside you and starts to program you to become one of her.
Yeah, I don't really get angry back, but then there's, to me, stagnation in our relationship because that's.
But that's okay, stagnation in your relationship. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah. As long as main thing is you don't get emotionally entangled. And when you get upset, you immediately become entangled this way. That's bondage. But if you are not upset, you are bonded to God. See? In other words, bonding to God is not bondage. Bonding to people is bondage. And you bond to people when they tempt you and you found wanting. Your relationship isn't pure yet. You haven't sought Him and still think you're your own person. You still think your will is your will when the will has you. See, God's will has me, but I don't think of it as my own will. I have a will, but it's not my will. It looks like my will. Even when the good will looks like I'm making decisions. It looks like I am making decisions. I'm not making decisions. I can't help but see. People will say to you, how does he do this? How is he successful in all these things? Let's say, they don't say that so much, I suppose, but let me say they say that. It's a mystery to me. I don't understand the forces. I only need that I know to obey intuitively what I'm given. And I know what intuition is because my first blush of intuition is to drop anger. That's the first blush. And not judge. And judge means judging good as good when it could be a deception. And judging evil as an evil which could be a deception because there'd be a good person in there. And it could be an evil person in a good, nice-looking person. So it is really best not to play the game of judging what you see. He looks like a nice person. That doesn't look right to me. But it's okay, as long as you don't add emotion to the look. Don't add emotion to the look, to how it appears. So I'm pleasant to all of you. I'm not judging any of you here, but I'm teaching you all the same. If you need a kick in the butt, I give you. If you need a little compliment, say an encouragement, I give you an encouragement. But I'm not putting you on a pedestal, and I'm not putting you down. I'm just giving you truth. It could be pleasant, it could be unpleasant. There's nothing in it for me. And you don't have to get better. And you don't, you see, and you could get worse. But the minute I'm not involved with the outcome, I don't have to feel guilty. I don't feel like I'm wonderful because I helped cure you. I don't feel bad because you don't get any better and lose all your money. It's up to you how you receive it. I won't force it on you, because if I force it on you, then I've robbed you of the right to choose what truth is. See that? Can you got that so far? So now, let me take it one little step further. Is that the person that's approaching you, you do not know whether they are wickedly wicked people, never to be cured. They exist. Or just a person who's infected, like your mom or maybe one of your kids, throwing tantrums and really, really acting up bad. And then you call him a mean little kid. No, he's not. Chances are he isn't. You sort of put that in him with your impatience. But the point is, you must leave from now on. You need to, when somebody loses their temper and loses it, don't lose it yourself. You just wait for it to go over. They go right up to your face. And who do you think you are? And push you. You stand there and don't say anything. But you look at him with a strength look, not a fearful look. They can smell your fear. They can sense the judgment. It's all energy. But the minute they touch you, have you ever touched a person? Have you had a person touch you with anger and feel the energy of the anger coming through you? Is that right? But if I get hold of your hand without anger, get hold of your wrist and push it, say hold that down, you're going to feel there's something else there. It'll stop you. It's like a, what do they call it? Stun gun. It stuns. See? It's the energy field. It's all energy with words, because then I guide the energy. If I'm mean, I can guide the energy and make you say you're stupid. And how did you get stupid? Because you react, now you're stupid. And now you feel stupid, now you accept the word, I am stupid. Then you start to behave stupid all your life, and people will call you stupid and keep reminding you are stupid.
The emotion's the moment.
So simple. Look, it's a lot of words to make something simple, isn't it? But I'm just giving you the variations of the theme. It's endless. I could talk for months. Just talk to me about what it is and just a variation, same thing. Now, so here is the nut of it, the core of it, is that a person who is up to no good and intimidating you, the spirit of that person, whether they be a good person or a wicked but affected person, it's the same effect on you. One of them you can save, and one of them you cannot. But the behavior, your reaction, non-reaction, is always the same. You don't decide who is permanently good and has permanently wants to be good and is infected, and a person is really bad. You don't decide that. That's a judgment. And that's why you are not resentful. That's why you stay calm and not resentful and hold your peace. And so therefore, because the person that's infected, or the wicked one, is intimidating you for no good reason, because he wants a piece of you. And that thing inside can only live when you give it. So he's testing you to see if you're weak. If you're weak angry, if you're weak submissive. See, because you'll be a weak angry person and you give in quickly and become submissive. And when you're not those two, you're safe. And the person feels uncomfortable. Now, because he doesn't get his meal. He feels the awkward nose. He feels the awkward moment. You get that person to feel awkward and angry. And then he ratchets it up. But now you're stronger to meet it the next time. And he ratchets it up. And he can do that forever. You go on forever.
Yeah, that's biblical. I just read that the other day.
It is?
Yeah. No, a friend of mine just gave me this little Bible. I can't remember what it's called. It's
doesn't matter.
Anyways, it said something about that. If in a script, it's got all these scripts of the Bible.
Yes.
It's a learner's Bible, or it's just got. I can't remember what it's called.
Doesn't matter. What's
and he said that the person who, I think it was, if you don't feed into somebody's anger, they will see themselves for what they are, or something like that.
Sure.
And that's what
but either like it and they're your friend, or they hate you and run, or try to play with you again. And a lot of people play with me long years and years. But I get better and better and better, and they get more and more confused. And maybe one day they wake up and then say to me, I hated you all my life, and the last 10 years, can you forgive me? And I say, no, I won't forgive you. So I said this to you before, why won't you forgive me? I never judged you. Because if I judge you, I play God, and if I forgive you, I play God. And when I play God on the forgiveness side, I give you a pass. And you get worse. Human beings can't forgive. You can't play God. You can't judge a person as good or a person as evil right away. But you can eventually come to the conclusion that they are. You could. Reagan, no question, blessed. A blessed man. Now, it's very rare. You can't say that many about things about politicians. But that's a blessed. That's why they hated him. But he had the better. Can you imagine Vice President Gore dealing with Gorbachev? There had been a nuclear war then. Gorbachev yielded. I can see Reagan coming out in that meeting. He comes out in the freezing cold in a jacket. Listen how clever this is. He comes out in the freezing cold to greet Gorbachev. He's getting out of the car with an overcoat and scarf and earmuffs on and everything. And shakes his hand in the freezing cold. It was all over. That's the moment. Got it? That's how powerful moments are. He was beaten.
From the handshake?
She said no. From the fact he met him in the freezing cold with just a jacket, just a suit on. And he was all huddled up, freezing cold. He says, I'm the man you're not. He didn't know what to do after that. He was finished. You get it. Brilliant. He knew exactly what he was doing. That is divine guidance. To walk out into that freezing cold and as if it wasn't there. in Moscow or wherever. Do you understand what now? The whole idea then is to make you hate the person. Now this thing in you, the thing in that person is going to make me hate the person is intimidating me. Because the thing wants you to hate the physical body. Because the physical body is the image of God, such as diminished as it might be. It's still made in the image of God. So if you hate the person, you're actually separating from God. And the minute you do that, it gets inside you. And you become a hater of good too. Or hating yourself. Because when you can't hate good, you hate others, you turn it against yourself. And you're in real trouble. It's a whole miserable thing.
That's a big deal, what you just said.
Isn't that right?
That last 4 lines is a big deal.
See, it's true.
I'll underline it.
Yeah, because evil knows the Bible. It knows what good is. And its whole existence is deceit. To a degree, you can't see it. So I get to see it. I share it with you. And there's the magic. You know why you shouldn't hate the person. Even if it's a wicked person, don't hate it. Just defeat its purpose, even if it's going to kill you. Why? What difference does it make if it's going to kill you? What does it cost you? Does it cost you any more not to hate them if they're going to kill you? Or not to hate them if they're not going to kill you? You know, what is the benefit of hating them? It's a benefit to them. Why do you think they tortured Jesus? They humiliated him in every possible way. And he put himself on the cross. And Pontius Pilate gave him an out. He gave everybody an out and says, on this day, you can set somebody free. And he figured, because he liked Jesus. He said, you know, I could free you. No, you couldn't. See? And so Pontius Pilate, in his wisdom, trying to save Jesus, says, on this day you can choose to the crowd who you want to free. And he figured they'd say, Jesus, no, they said, give us Barabbas. Don't you see how he could influence outcomes? What are you crying for?
I didn't want Jesus to die.
You what?
I didn't want Jesus to die. I just didn't want him to die.
That's interesting. But he needed to.
I don't.
Why would that be? That's a very interesting reaction. I haven't seen one like that before.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Why didn't you want him to die? He didn't die.
I didn't want him to die. And
I know, but he didn't die. Don't you see? Didn't he
he rose from the dead.
Maybe you can rise from the dead. Because that's what you're doing here. You're rising from the dead before you die. You've got to rise from the dead before you die. You know why? Because if you, I'm being very spiritual now. If you put your husband on a pedestal, if you put Saddam Hussein on the pedestal, and you please him and he gives you power, and gives you nice, life by killing people and doing what he says, but you're secure. If you're secure with money, if you're secure with sex, if you're secure with stamp collecting, you're dead. Because your security, who you are, is coming from, the sense of worth is coming from what is worthless. Stamps, gold, money. People who lie to you, love you. So, but say you're stuck married to someone who you got them on a pedestal. And your husband dies, you have a love, usually it's a love-hate relationship. The hate is the need, increases the need for the person's existence. And that person dies. I guarantee you hate that person for dying. But then you love them in the grave, and you call upon their ectoplasm in your mind to love them and wish it was the way it used to be. See, I wish it is. You see what I'm trying to say? So what's happened is, when you die, you go to the same place. But if you love a Jesus who rose from the dead, that's what happens to you. You're bonded to one who rose from the dead. So simple. Am I Jewish or not? Or am I more Christian than you are? Is that right? That's what your love is. You're attached to what rose from the dead. And see, if you love him in life, you'll be resurrected in death. Like Jesus says to the thief on the cross, this day you'll be in paradise, but you can go, the other one can go to hell. Two kinds of thieves. Those two types of people. One's infected and one is wicked. He encountered the wicked one on the cross. He says, why are you mean to this man? Why are you saying this? He's done no wrong, he's innocent. All he had to do was recognize it. He didn't have to live a good life, he only had to recognize it. That's how fair God is in the last minute. I wouldn't want to wait, don't advise you to wait for the last minute. Well, I hope I'm not boring you. How are you doing, James?
Listening.
Do you think you need an exorcism?
At some point, you don't have to do it. It's ongoing. It's a process. You want to take a cross to me more than willing.
No, I know my friend
It
here.
unfolds.
I've known him for a long time. Just came all the way to see me. But you enjoying this?
Yes.
It has a lot of value, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's like you say, I don't remember, but it diffuses things that maybe I struggled a little bit too much with.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the way to set the struggle aside and let it just be.
You're like him. He hears it. It's there. You don't have to remember it. It's there. It's a living thing now. It's not just words. See, you notice it. It's making it better. You're getting better as you sit here. You should have seen him the first day. It was just, you would have cried. You would have cried. Yeah. You don't mind if I put you on TV, do you? I mean, to show what agony people have to go through. They'll be crying with you. Is it all right with you if I put that up? I want to make put this whole program on TV. The whole. Yeah. Is that all right with you? Because it's particularly, it might be embarrassing to you. I would not do it.
Are
you okay with it?
I'd assume so.
Let me know.
I will let you know.
Let me know. I won't do it till you're ready. All right. Okay. The rest of you, I don't care. Because I don't want it to be sensitive to any will of mine.
I appreciate that.
All right, now.
I had a question. I've been noticing something from being objective and stepping back. When you told me to open my eyes the other day, and you asked me if you were further away.
Yes.
I've been noticing these past couple of days that all the time I feel
distant.
I feel further back from myself, almost physically.
You'll get used to it. You'll get used to it, and after a while you won't notice it. That means that distance is not space-time. It is objective. And that's how you can see through people. You see their motives. You see opportunities where others never see it. You have disciplines that you never had before that will develop. You can look at a nickel and turn it over and say, oh, I really need this candy bar. I'm talking about nickel when there were nickels. Now they're dollars. Oh my God, I'm Jewish. No, I really can't have one. Is that okay? Yes, sir.
If you don't hate somebody, but can you resent what they represent?
Say that again.
If you don't hate somebody, but you resent what they represent.
No,
Is
no.
that the same thing?
I tell you what, if you resent what they resent what they represent, that's hatred. They're doing their job. In other words, they've got you. Now, I'll tell you how you can hate. Would you like to learn how to hate evil? Who would like to learn how to really hate evil and really reject it? Don't hate it. Because it wants you to hate it. So when you don't hate it, it really hates you for not hating it. Then it really hates you, but you don't hate it for hating you. Then it really hates you more for not hating you, because you're robbing it of its power. It doesn't like to be beaten. You're starving it. You're holding up a mirror.
So it's the same thing then?
Well, you're actually hating it by not. It is a paradox, a divine paradox.
Okay.
When you don't hate evil, that is rejecting it. So it feels rejected. It feels like you hate them. And he will look at you as if you are hateful, you mean so-and-so. But he's only saying that to make you hate him, because he can't live without your hate. He can't exist in that moment. He cannot beat you. He's beaten. And he feels the pain of it. And it feels like you're hurting him. He screams with agony. So, drop dead. My attitude is,
so would another approach...
I'm going to kill myself, okay. But if it's, you also say, no, if it's a good kid, you could say to this, okay, go ahead. Or you might say, you know, I'm not going to let you control me by you killing yourself. You're not going to manipulate me that way. And he gets to see it. He's just trying to manipulate you to do what he wants. So there's a wisdom in those moments, how you talk to them. But that will come to you, because it's assortment of things you say. But it will always come the right thing. I can just remember, I won't tell you when, I actually said something which, to a very person, very high place. And I can't say how it was, but it was most improper, ordinarily, but it was powerful. Okay? And I found myself saying it, I said it before, but it was whispered. So only my mouth moved. And I never did that before. That's all I can tell you. But I noticed my own lips were moving. But I was not saying anything. But I was saying something. And that person saw it. And that's all I can tell you. See? It was a very interesting thing. But it was very powerful effect, good effect, really good. I was surprised my own self. Where did that come from? But it also could be something stupid. See? It wasn't. It's just the magic of evil and the magic of good. They're both magic. So life is very delicate. That's why I say, all you have to do is understand the simple part. The rest of it takes care of itself. And you say, is there any advanced courses? No. There are no advanced courses. There's a refresher course if you want to come back and you didn't quite get it. But you can listen to me for little tidbits. That's helpful. That's kind of nice when you get together. Radio is a nice thing, so you can just hear people discussing things, and it does help. But otherwise, the journey is yours, and you'll learn it, you'll discover it, it'll unfold through you. Life be. Did you understand, sir, what I meant about not hating evil is hating evil? Because you're not doing what it wants you to do.
I was a little bit confused on it.
I know it.
I understand now.
See how magic that is. you'll be surprised how things will turn out for you. You may lose a job, but that's where you shouldn't have been. Then suddenly you find yourself in a better place, because you're a better person for that moment. See? So now you look better to good people. And it draws you. Or you look worse to good people and you go the wrong way. Well, let's see. I think it's time to eat, isn't it? Well, I enjoyed you today, really. I mean, I enjoyed you every day, but I did a lot of talking. We didn't do any fancy stuff. Who didn't enjoy it? Anybody? Any got value? Is there value? You actually heard something you haven't heard before, I think. Is that correct? Or you've heard that me say it before? No, I'm talking this to my friend here. Yeah. Charles.
What I realize is that everything is just one little tiny simple moment.
The mustard seed.
And you need to, you say it a million times from a million directions in a million ways.
Exactly.
And, you know, as long as you're saying it, I'm happy sitting here listening. But I want everyone to realize that this is not a game. That this is a serious thing, and these are real things, and they really exist. And you have an opportunity to go through the tough little journey to come out the other side born again.
You know him? I think you were writhing on the floor with the exorcism, weren't you?
More than once.
As a matter of fact, I had
And I was a good guy. I didn't have these terrible, traumatic, you know, situations you hear. I was a good guy, successful businessman, intelligent person. Actually, I was I was thinking recently how many times I was an innocent man and people tried to do harm to me in the military and afterward. And every time a guy did it, I just answered with my innocence and they were destroyed. Yeah. So I wasn't a bad guy, but it was in me. So really...
That's an interesting statement.
It's
exorcism
more pervasive
too.
than you realize, and all you have to do is what this man found out. Don't judge it, don't fight it, don't hate it, don't be afraid of it. Open your heart and see what comes.
But something must have happened to you a long time ago that hit it.
Oh, I could tell all that.
You know.
But I'm just saying, they always assume, well, it's this guy who was in this, you know, and they have these terrible, you hear these stories of people with terrible stories. And they think, well, that's not me. This is this other guy.
Yes.
And I'm saying it could be you. Now, you don't have to have a big exorcism, but you've got to deal with evil. If you don't deal with it, it's got you.
But when you start to deal with evil in a good way, like you started to, a little better than you did before.
A little better.
And then you had that exorcism.
Yeah. And
that's
all
when
it was, I did, the way I dealt with it is I didn't deal with it. Yeah. I watched.
Yeah. Your whole family must have, it seemed like every one of your family had to go through this. Everyone I remember, your wife too. Yeah. And you're all so much better now.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
What he just said about watching, and I've heard you over the radio for years, it doesn't like to be watched, and I notice that that's true.
People don't, when you look at people like that, they feel like being watched. And they're like your thoughts. You're looking at them, and their behavior has the same effect on them. It neutralizes them.
They know. Well, when I started doing that meditation years ago, I was being able to see them thoughts pop up, where before they just I didn't see them.
You were involved with them.
I was involved with them.
Yeah.
And I noticed when I would see them thoughts popping up, they would go away because it noticed that I was aware of it.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
They're not, see that you can see that you're not your thoughts. If you know they're not your thoughts, why should you obey them?
Right.
Yes. But if they are your thoughts, then you want to struggle with them to stop them because they're your thoughts. You shouldn't have them so that you fight them. The whole secret is to know you don't have an original thought in your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're sneaky, huh? Yeah.
If you know that, that is the original thought. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch.